Oh. Today's video is inspired by the fact I have woken up feeling like death over the last couple of days, and some of you may or may not know that as an elite athlete I am bound to the laws of Asada and WADA in terms of what drugs I can take whenever I don't feel well. Now you might say, what is Asada and WADA? Asada is the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority, and WADA is the World Anti-Doping Agency. So I'm bound to these rules because I am on a national squad, and I've been selected as a high-level squad athlete to be basically, like, these guys can turn up anytime, out of sport, out of competition testing. So anytime I need to go and take anything at all, I can't just shove it down my throat, because if I get tested, and they can turn up at any time of the day, they can take both a urine sample and a blood test, and if I have taken the wrong thing, I can be banned from my sport. Anything I take is completely and utterly my responsibility. I'm sure you've probably heard of, say, football teams or other athletic teams saying, "Oh, our team doctor gave it to us," whatever. It doesn't cut it. So basically, whatever is in your body is your responsibility. And so, in order to be able to figure that out, I've come up with some really easy plans that I follow to the letter every single time. So the first thing I do is install the Asada app. So on your phone, there's an app that will lead you to a website, and you enter in whether you're an athlete or a coach or administration, what sport you're in, which country you bought the product in, which is really important because it may seem like the same product in Australia and, say, America, but it might be made slightly differently in America to here. And then you enter in the active constituent, the active product that's on the packet, and your app will show you all of the options, and you choose the one that is on your packet, whether, say, like, this is obviously an oral tablet, it's not an injection. And then the app will tell you whether the product is permitted, if it's permitted in competition or not, and if it's permitted out of competition or not. So those two things are really important, because you might have something that's permitted out of competition, and then if you keep taking it in competition, it's banned. So you really need to know what you're looking for. This morning I went to the chemist, and I have a good relationship with my chemist. He knows that I am limited to what I can take and we need to check. So my process is, I wander in and I go, "Hi, Mr. Chemist, I feel really sick and I'd like some drugs to stop my nose running and my sore throat and whatever." So he asks me all my symptoms, and then he comes up with some suggestions, and then we go to the suggestions, we get them out, and then I run them through my app, and if they're permitted, I then send myself an email or screenshot with the reference number that I have checked and these are permitted, and then they're good to go. So the three things that I have here that I've used for my ear, nose and throat things, I have a betadine sore throat gargle, I have a Sallyann nasal spray, and I have a sinus nasal relief. Now this is known as Sudafed. This is the generic brand. Sudafed used to not be allowed at all. So every time you had an ear, nose and throat, it was awful, because the other brand of stuff that's not Sudafed definitely didn't work. So the only thing I could really take was Telfast, which is an antihistamine. Nowadays, this is allowed out of competition but not in competition for an equestrian athlete, and this is purchased in Australia. So we'll show you on the app how that works. So the first thing you do is go into the Asada search app, which you can download from the App Store on your phone. It then leads you to globaldro.com, which is the website. The first page that you'll get is terms and conditions. So you can read through the terms and conditions and then press accept. The second page you'll get to is the search page. Now, when you user type, I am the athlete. So you can see here you've got some options as to what your role is in the sport. So athlete, done. The next one is to choose your sport. So we'll scroll down here. Definitely not. Bowls, not curling. Equestrian, tick. The nation of purchase these products was Australia, and that's already filled in there. And for this one, I'm going to search for the betadine sore throat gargle. So the active product here is povidone, and as I've ticked it in, povidone iodine. So I'm going to tap on that and then press search. So then it will search, and down the bottom here it says it's come up with 3 results. Now, we haven't got an antiseptic ointment, we're not using the surgical scrub, but we are looking for the ingredient, povidone iodine, and the ingredient status has come up with: in competition it is not prohibited, and out of competition it is also not prohibited. So basically I am allowed to use betadine sore throat gargle in or out of competition. And as I scroll through the list here, it gives me search details. So it will give me a reference number, which I can screenshot, or I can have this emailed to myself, the nation of purchase, the sport, and the search date. And I can keep this for my reference so that I know that I've searched for this product, this is the result that it's given me, and therefore I have done the right thing and I'm good to go. Now we're going to do another product here, which is an interesting one. This is the sinus and nasal relief, or Sudafed. Now if I look at the ingredient here, it's pseudoephedrine hydrochloride. So again, using my app, I'm going to type in here, I've got Athlete, Equestrian Australia from my last search. Now I'm going to put in here pseudoephedrine and it comes up with pseudoephedrine hydrochloride. I'm going to go with that one. It's the same as what it says on the packet. And then I'm going to press search. Okay, so we've got one result, and I'm going to tap on that. So pseudoephedrine has given us quite an interesting result, and you have to be really careful that you pay attention to things like this. So the ingredient status says that we have a dreaming, snorting dog in the background who probably could do with some pseudoephedrine for his snorting. Are we done, sweetheart? So the results for pseudoephedrine have come up, and they're quite interesting. So it said in competition, this product is prohibited, but out of competition, it is not prohibited. So what that means is that, like, for me now, I can have this because I don't have a competition this weekend. I'm not currently at a competition, so I'm allowed to take this as per the packet instructions. However, next weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I have a dressage competition. And yes, I'm an eventer. It's not an eventing competition. It's an official dressage competition. It's still a competition. So I am not allowed to take this on the day of competition. Now, to be perfectly safe, I'll make sure I don't take it the day before as well, unless I'm absolutely feeling like death. Because I want to make sure that it is not in my system. So the app is really, really useful. And again, I would screenshot or email this to myself so that I've got all these details. And if I was drug tested and they asked me what I had in the last 7 days, I can then bring these up and I have a record of them, and they know exactly what's been going into my body in terms of drugs, and that I have made sure I've checked up on everything. The process of being drug tested is it's potentially a little bit awkward when you haven't had this done before. In fact, it's probably awkward even if you have done it before. But basically, Asada, the drug testing people, turn up unannounced at your house or at the competition or at the training facility, and they say, we are looking for so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so, and they assign a person to you, and that person, when they first see you, they don't let you out of their sight, because if you were really dodgy and you wanted to go and get someone else's urine and plant it in your and use a fake test, then if you're out of their sight from the minute you know you're going to get tested, if you want to be dodgy, then you can. So they follow you around like they're attached to you. You kind of got to hope that you need to wee, because if you've just weed and they come, then they're going to hang around with you until you've drunk enough that you then do wee. So then once you're ready to go and do the wee, you start off and they give you a pack. You choose one of the packs. You've got like sort of maybe 4 or 5 packs, and it has a couple of beakers in it. It has all sorts of stickers that comply, and you have to make sure, they say you look at this pack and make sure everything matches, and this is unopened, completely sealed. And you do, you give the tick of approval. Then you sign some stuff and you go off to do your P test with your person. Remember who comes with you. You both go into the blue cubicle and you lift your jumper up to here and drop your DAX to halfway down to your knees, and you have to weigh a certain amount. There's a minimum quantity they need into the cup. You then seal the cup, pants up, top down, and go back to the area that they're doing all the administration, the desk. And then you have to pour amounts of the urine into other tests. So you have at least 2 tests. You have to seal it properly. You have to sign, you do all this sort of stuff. So you are present for every single step of the testing, and so is your person. So there's heaps of proof. You know that no one else is touching your samples. No one's tampering with them. And then they will package it all up and they will send it off to the lab. And as far as I've always been aware, no news is good news. So if you have been found positive, obviously they're going to come and tell you. But of all the times that I've been drug tested, I haven't ever heard back. And recently I was tested at the training camp before Taupo Oceania Championships in May this year. And they also took a blood test as well. So it's a bit of an interesting process in terms of dropping your DAX in front of somebody else, but I kind of figure that, you know, that's what they do for a living, so I'm sure they're pretty used to it by now. Now, I don't want to frighten anybody, but if you are an EA member at an EA competition, you can be drug tested at any time. Technically, if you're competing, you can be drug tested. However, in all my time, I've never seen an intro level rider drug tested. But for me, I'm on a high level squad. I've also been selected, notified and signed that yes, I agree to be an athlete that is chosen to be drug tested at any time. They can come up whenever they like. They also put me on what's called a whereabouts program, and the whereabouts program is basically they ask you to give them at least an hour of every day where they can find you and come and test you. So I have to enter in again on an app, and I say, okay, you can come to my house between say 6 and 7 o'clock every morning, because that's generally when I'm here. If I go to a competition, I then have to enter in on my app where I'll be, and if I'll be in transit or if I'll be based at a particular address, and I have to make sure that that's updated all the time. And they do send you notifications to say you need to update your next quarter. So it's quite intense, and you have to take it really, really seriously, because at the end of the day, just not checking stuff, even if it was, for example, a cortisone hand cream, if you had psoriasis or something, you have to check absolutely everything that you use. The other thing that's really interesting is that I wanted to go on a naturopathic program and take some more naturopathic herbal remedies, and they can't be batch tested necessarily. So if they are small manufacturer runs and they don't have a batch test, then you can't be sure that they are going to comply with the drug test rules. So unless your protein powders and supplements, you've got to be really careful. You can't just kind of say, I'm going to take these herbs and those herbs or whatever, because if they haven't been batch tested, you have absolutely no proof that you know what is in that batch and if it's going to comply. So you have to be really super careful about absolutely everything. So if you found this really interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Amanda Ross Eventing Fit. You'll also find the links below, as well as to the Asada Drugs in Sport app. And also, please feel free to let us know if there's anything else that you'd like us to show you, or any subjects you're interested in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!